All right, well, I have the honor and privilege this morning of introducing or continuing education on Lockout Tagout. I'm sure all of you guys have already seen or know something about Lockout Tagout. I'm going to just introduce the concept, and then we're going to watch the video that Eric and my predecessor and Jaron made, and then I'm just going to touch on a few key points at the end, just things to keep in mind. So just a quick definition of Lockout Tagout. Lockout Tagout refers to specific practices and procedures to safeguard employees from unexpected energization or startup of machinery and equipment during service or maintenance activities. So essentially what Lockout Tagout is it's a way of protecting people who are doing maintenance from getting zapped, electrocuted, and so it's a very important thing for those who are authorized to do Lockout Tagout to know how to do it, and then those who are in the surroundings who see something locked out, tagged out, to know what to do, to not tamper with it, to not try to turn on that equipment. So it's a really basic little idea, just to give you guys a quick kind of example of Lockout Tagout. It's as simple as a custodian or somebody finding a cord that is not safe, and if you have a vacuum and the wires are frayed, or you have another piece of equipment and that's exposed, it's basically just you contacting your supervisor, or if you're authorized to do it, taking the correct equipment to lock that out. Put a lock on this, and then you'll put a tag on this. And the video explains a little bit more, but that's essentially what it is. It's to make sure that nobody goes and plugs this in and meets the end of their life. So it's a very important thing for everyone to understand, and so we'll just dive into the video. It says it much better than I ever could.
Morning.
Morning, Jaron. What's on the docket?
We got to do that Lockout Tagout video.
Right. What do you want to do for that?
Why don't we just go through the questions and think about something that we can do for each of them?
Well, first thing they got to know, obviously, is where the Lockout Tagout station is. Right there in the electrical shop, right?
Yep.
The Lockout Center consists of numerous locks, including Electrical Department, HVAC Department, Carpentry, and Contractor for each of the department needs. Also, cord lockout of various types and shapes. You can also get your lockout tags, complete with front, danger, do not operate, and written back. Use a zip tie to secure to lock. Also, there's this thing, and these breaker locks for locking out or taking out. Extras may be found in the bin. For front and back, please see front and back.
I don't know. I don't think we need to do that. We just need to let them know what an authorized and affected employee is. I don't want to waste my time. I mean, their time. Mainly my time.
So, like, authorized, isn't that just like someone like D or custodian, someone that is affected by it, but they can't actually turn the power off, or maybe they don't know how?
Did someone say my name?
So first, we take the lock and we lock it.
And then what?
And then we take the zip tie. And we zip tie the tag to the lock.
And what does that do?
It attaches the zip tie to the lock. And then we write our name and expected completion date.
Like the
On the
duration.
tag.
The duration.
The duration.
Okay. Easy enough. So then no one else, not an authorized person, not an affected person, no one, not even Hacksaw Jim Duggan himself can get that lock off.
Not even Jim Dugan.
Wouldn't that be something?
Well, Eric, the main thing is that we just make sure that... Well, Eric, the main thing is that we just make sure that it's locked out. We just make sure that it's locked out and it will not turn back on. It can't be... Had to turn that off. It cannot be energized again.
So we really want to make sure all the energy's been dissipated. Hydraulics are out. We have released all the energy. We've deactivated it all. We want to make sure that all the switches are off and in their lock position so that no one can get a hold of it. That way, we have it locked out and ready. Seriously?
Where are those guys? Come on.
Now, what is the difference between a lock and a tag?
You only use the tag when the lock won't fit on there.
So I want to use a lock when at all possible, but if I cannot, a tag is still acceptable. Say, for instance, I have an extension cord, and I'm making sure it's unplugged while I service the machine. I want to make sure that I lock that, maybe even in our special extension cord lock, tag out, or at least tag it if I can't get one of those locks on. Is that what you're saying?
The last thing you want is somebody to come up and make something explode on you, you know?
Okay, so I got my lock on there, but then you put yours on.
Yeah, if I need to work on it as well, I just come up and put my lock on there. That way if you get finished and you need to leave, it's still locked out.
So I take my lock off. I make sure that, obviously, all the stuff I've done is done, but you're not finished. I can't get that lock off.
Yeah, you definitely don't want somebody to come up and turn something on when you're working on it, because then you might end up on one of those German forklift videos.
Das will nicht? Lass mich mal, ich kenne mich aus mit sowas.
Augenblick mal, Klaus. Erinnerst du dich? Wartungs- und Instandsetzungsarbeiten dürfen nur durch Fachpersonal erfolgen. Also nicht selber fummeln und auch keine Dritten fummeln lassen.
Was denn? Wegen so einer Kleinigkeit? Man hat ja schließlich keine zwei linken Hände.
Hey, where's my plunger? I've been trying to get a hold of y'all all day. I got a backup the size of an elephant over in Campbell.
So say I need to turn something back on, like I'm in the middle of the job. I don't have to go through all that junk again, do I?
Well, you have to start all the way over.
Huh?
You have to start all the way over.
Say I'm doing my electrical work and I need to lock something out. I find the breaker I'm looking for. I disengage it, making sure that the power is turned off to the supplied item I'm going to work on. Then I put my lock on. Or my tag in this case, since I can't fit a lock on that breaker. I then take my tag and my supplied zip tie and I secure it. This is one of those instances where definitely a tag is going to work where a lock will not fit. I then make sure I have it with my danger, do not operate tag placed on it. I secure that down tight. And then I take my marker and make sure I put my name, my department, and my expected completion date. I want to make sure I get this job done today, so I'm going to put the date on there. Now on the back, if there's anything else anyone needs to know, I'm going to write remarks about it, like, please do not tamper with. And there, my lockout tagout has been completed.
Oh, great. I forgot to check on something with the power supply. I'm going to turn it back on. So basically, all I want to do is disconnect my lockout, take my tag off, take the lock off, the tag off the breaker, re-energize. I'm going to then check my power supply, and then I can just put the same tag on, right?
No, you have to start the whole process over again.
Oh, man, really?
Yep.
I guess that's for my safety and yours, right? I'm going to take my new tag with my new zip tie, making sure it's all disengaged, secure it, and I'm going to write down all my new information here. Again, my name, my department, and my expected completion date. Does that sound correct?
Yes.
Perfect. What about a main disconnect?
Well, actually, Eric, these are a whole lot easier. All you have to do is shut them off, and then they already have a built-in hole. You just stick the lock in there, and you lock it. There's no way they can get that back open. Anybody can get that back open without taking the lock off. And then you follow the same procedure. Put the tag on, and then your name, department, and expected completion date.
Okay, so really, we just make sure we follow the same protocol no matter what, each time, every time.
Yes. It's the same all over the place.
Someone got something stuck in the trash compactor again. Am I going to just let them jump on in there?
Absolutely not. We need to do a lockout tagout.
That's a great idea. I'm going to make sure I contact an authorized user to disengage the power to the trash compactor and then perform standard lockout tagout procedures, including attaching my lock. Then, putting my lock tag on the device and including my description, my name, department, and my expected completion date on this project.
So, Eric, who are some of the authorized lockout tagout employees?
You're thinking someone in the electric department, HVAC, carpentry, plumbing, heck, even vehicle maintenance.
And it's also important that we make sure that what we intend to disengage is actually disengaged.
Right.
We definitely don't want to turn off the wrong thing.
The key's still on, but obviously with our lockout, it's not going to turn on, is it, Jared?
No, because there is no power going to this thing.
None whatsoever. Successful lockout tagout. I get it. So say on this bandsaw, I want to remove the switch plate, add the lockout device, making sure I secure it, then place it, put my lock on, and tag it, and I'm ready to go.
Hey, but Eric, we still have one more thing that we need to make sure is in our presentation.
Oh yeah? What's that?
Yeah, so the way to finish up is very, very simple.
Simple. So I want to recheck the power is still disengaged. Obviously my lock's on there, so I shouldn't have any problem there.
Right, and then you take the tag off first.
Okay, so my tag is off. I'm gonna erase my writing on there and use that again later, obviously.
Yeah, and then you can take the lock off.
I take my lock off, securing the key in it to put back in the lockout station.
Correct. And then you, before you turn the equipment back on, you make sure that you have all your tools. What was a saw doing in there?
I don't know, but I clean and then engage the power.
Correct.
So now we just need to let people know.
Yeah, Eric, just make sure that every affected employee is aware that the equipment is back up and running.
Yodelay, 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 hee-hoo. Ya la 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 hoo hoo. Yodelay, 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 hee-ya. Yolo ho hey ho ah. Ricola.
That would be funny.
That would be good.
He gets it.
But, you know, I really don't have time for that.
You're right, Jared. But it'd be funny if we did that, though. Well, anyway, guess we better get to it, huh?
Oh man, Eric, it's 4 o'clock. Let's just let the safety committee take care of it.
What? Man, this day flew by. All right, well, guess we'll do it again tomorrow.
So that's a lot of information about how to do lockout tagout. For many of you, you will probably never do a lockout tagout yourself during your time here at DTS. And so I want to just go through a couple basic pieces of information for us just to make sure we are practicing safe lockout tagout. And then also for those of us who notice something is locked out or tagged out, what we should be doing. So kind of the first principle to keep in mind is that if you're not authorized to perform lockout tagout, the best plan of action for you is when you notice something that has frayed wires and it needs to be shut down, best thing is to contact your supervisor. Okay? Contact your supervisor, let them know, and then hopefully your supervisor will pass it on to the correct personnel. So that's the first thing to keep in mind. Second thing is do not remove locks or tags from equipment. Okay? If you see something is locked out, just let it stay locked out. If you need to operate the equipment or you're confused about why something is locked out or tagged out, somebody should have their name on this. Contact them and ask them why it is locked out, but do not try to remove it yourself. Okay. Third thing is do not try to operate the equipment that has been locked out or tagged out. Don't try to get a little screwdriver in there and try to turn back on the switch. Just leave it alone. Leave it alone. And then the final best principle to keep in mind is communicate. If you have a vacuum that is locked out, make sure you're just telling the other custodians, my vacuum is locked out. It's just to make sure that other people aren't going to go in there and try to remove locks or tags, and just so that all together we know what is going on. So make sure you're telling other people. These are a couple examples of lockout tagout. We saw several on the video. A light switch locked out, and then a breaker locked out. These are things you can lock out basically anything that is energized, and there's lots of different tools for that. So if you see these type of things, just leave them alone. Just leave them alone. So you all ready for the quiz? Yeah? All right, I'm just seeing thumbs up. So, all righty. Number 1, lockout tagout can be performed only by A, authorized employees. That is correct. Number 2, even if you don't perform lockout tagout, you must know the importance of C, never trying to start locked or tagged out equipment or remove the locks or tags. And then number 3, after turning off equipment, the next lockout tagout step is to, this is a tricky one, it wasn't covered super clear. It's actually B, deactivate the energy control device. That could be a breaker, that could be, right, so making sure that you are locking out whatever energizes the piece of equipment. Number 4, tags are used instead of locks only when C, the equipment can't be locked out. And you saw an example of that in the video. Number 5, lockout tagout includes releasing or blocking any energy stored in springs, hydraulic systems, etc. True. 6, before working on locked or tagged out equipment, the authorized employee A, test that energy is truly off by trying to turn on the equipment. Number 7, if energy is turned back on to test or position equipment during servicing, you can just turn it off again without completing all the lockout tagout steps. False. That is correct. It is false. Number 8, any authorized employee can remove a lockout lock. False. Yes, only the person who actually performed the lockout can remove it. Okay. Number 9, before removing a lock or tag, the authorized employee A, removes tools from the area and replaces the machine guards. And then number 10, if affected employees are around when the lock is removed, it's not necessary to tell them the equipment is ready for use. False. Yes, again, that's communication. Make sure you're telling everyone. All right, that's it for me.